Hello my kittens, and today we have a realistic roleplay, so let's get into it. I yawned waking up. Getting out of my bed, I turned on my nightlight and headed towards my dresser. I put on some clothes. And got on my hat and my jacket since it was raining. I then grabbed my boots and put them on. I walked out of the door. Heading towards the stables. I remembered I had let Mickey, one of my new horses, out last night. I started running as it started to rain a little bit harder. I was almost there when I went into the fields and decided to grab a carrot. After grabbing a carrot, I started running back so that I could get Mickey. I opened the paddock door and went in. Mickey had one of his pasture mates with him. He was drenched with water. I put on his halter carefully. Since he was one of the newer horses, I definitely did have to put it on carefully. After putting on his halter, I started leading him. I stopped leading him so that I could get the gate open. And then I started leading him again. But, again, with the gate being extremely hard to do, it took me at least one try, or a few tries. But I made it, and we did get through, eventually. But here are clips of me trying to get through and not making it. I even tried standing right in front of him so that we could get a straight go. But I was just too slow. And he went back a few times. This happens with almost every single of my horses, so it's not a surprise that it happened with Mickey. I tried to get him closer to the gate just because. After that, I opened it, and then I quickly grabbed on, and we made it! After so many tries, we finally made it. I have probably lots of clips of us trying to get through. Some people were riding out today, but they were bundled up since it was cool. I went inside the stable. Everybody had been fed that morning by my stable old person. It had been a few days since I had visited them, but they were completely fine. I put Mickey in his stall. But then I realized he was still drenched, and I had to groom him down and get the water off. So I quickly took him out of his stall. Once we got into the wash stall, I did up the cross ties and then started getting the stuff off. He was looking at me a lot while I was doing it. I didn't mind though. He was really wet and it took me a few minutes to dry him off. I then walked over to his other side and started brushing him on there. After a few minutes of that, which I didn't get too many clips of since I didn't want to waste my battery on just some clips, I stopped and gave him a pat. I gave him that carrot that I had collected earlier and walked him back to his stall. I had went to the auction yesterday and the day before. I got 2 horses yesterday, though one hasn't arrived yet. Mickey arrived earlier than the other one yesterday, but the other one still hadn't arrived by this morning. I remember both their names, Mickey, who the one we're standing in front of, and Loki. They were my 2 new auction horses, and I decided to get them since the stable was a little bit empty, especially because Poncho and Cody had just left. I waited and waited, and finally, he came. I didn't get any clips of me leading him to his stall, but he was very stubborn. But I have him right here with us. He's an 8-year-old thin horse. And he came from Dew's Rescue and Report. One of my best auction houses that I go to. Now Loki will be staying longer than Mickey because Mickey isn't as stubborn as Loki. So I'll train Mickey up quite a bit before selling him. And then Loki will stay longer. And there's a 0.5% chance I might keep him, just because I really like him. But I really need to start my training with Loki. So here are some clips of me getting him ready and training him. Good boy. I cannot wait to train you. You're such a good boy. Okay. I led him to the wash stall to tack him up. He stopped a few times and refused to go. And then he reared, which wasn't the greatest. But after that incident, I was able to lead him to the wash stall without any troubles. Loki hadn't had tack on before, so I'm surprised that he works well with a halter. But since he hasn't had tack on before, then trying to train him is going to be a little bit hard. Now, I was deciding whether I would do flat work with him or lunge him. I decided I would do some flat work, but I wouldn't try and ride him, just because. So I groomed him up. I only got a few clips of me grooming him, since he doesn't like being recorded much. He stood still, almost terrified, when I was recording him and being brushed. Only his tail was moving. I went to the other side, but that's all I got of Clips since he was really afraid. Then I got clips of me leading him out of the stables. I remembered to put on my jacket and my hat since it was raining still. There were some people out riding, though they were bundled up again because it was cool and the rain was pouring quite a bit by now. I led him into the trailer, and luckily he was pretty well with the trailer, but then he started rearing. Sadly, I thought he was really good with it, but I guess not. After rearing a few times, he backed out, too scared. I had to call my friend so that she could drive the trailer, so that I could stay in with him. Now, we're definitely going to have to fix with the trailer, since it's not a good thing that he doesn't like them. But I had to get him doing some flat work, so I had to do it. I trailered to the riding arena, and I had to stay with him the whole ride. It was bumpy, but I was able to hold on to the pole there. I kept petting him to calm him down. He seemed pretty happy when we got to the riding arena that he didn't have to ride in the trailer anymore. My friend wanted to watch us, so I let her watch us. I wanted to try and ride him, but I knew that wouldn't work, and it would be too dangerous for me. But I didn't mind. I'm used to not riding horses right away, especially since they're pretty crazy sometimes. It was still pouring rain, but once we got into the indoor area, everything seemed to be fine. Once we got into the dressage arena, which I also use for flat work and lunging sometimes just for an indoor area, I took off my coat and I took off my hat and changed it to a helmet. I then put on my gloves since we were going to be doing something like lunging but more like flat work. I then stopped leading him, but I attached my lunging rope just because I was kind of lunging him, but more doing flat work. He started cantering almost immediately. I followed with him so that we could do it. He then settled down to a trot, and then up to a slow gallop. I slowed him down, and he went back to a canter again. I didn't get a lot of clips of us doing flat work, only a little bit. But other than that, that's good, since it was quite a long flat work session. After doing flat work for about what seemed like an hour, I headed out of the dressage arena and into the jumping one. Now you must be thinking, why are you heading into the jumping one? Because I was going to see him jump if he didn't get too scared. Once I got in, I stopped leading him and I took off his halter. I hoped he wouldn't run, and he didn't, which was good. After that, I let him run around. He seemed to be enjoying himself quite a bit. Soon, I saw him jump his first jump. And I actually got quite a few clips of this. He seemed to be enjoying himself quite a bit. I guess he really liked jumping, which means I could do XC with him / cross country, and we could also do jumping and whatever else he liked. Whether he liked Western too, I didn't know. But I liked that we could do XC, since I only have a few XC horses, and I'm pretty sure I only have like 2 or 3. By now it would probably be 3, because I think Lucy is one, even though she's an off-the-track thoroughbred. Which she does do XC. After him finishing up with a few more jumps, which I think he was absolutely awesome at, I called him back. I called his name. Loki! I yelled, hoping he would hear. He stopped in front of me. I smiled, putting back on his halter. He seemed really, really happy. After putting on his halter, I put my hat back on, my jacket, and kept on the gloves, just in case. I started leading him to the trailer again. My friend had recorded him while he was jumping and while we were doing flat work, which was nice because I didn't have to hold a camera and lead him around, because he went a little bit fast on some turns and a little bit other times. I yawned. I was actually quite tired. But I didn't get any other clips when we were heading home, sadly. I only got a photo of us standing next to each other. Which didn't work too well because I accidentally got stuck and I had to try and squirm about to get out. But I got this really, really cute picture. Not that one. Well, I actually tried to get a cute one. It didn't work too well. But I finally did. But it took a few tries. Definitely took a few tries. But I finally got one. I was super happy when I finally got one. So I turned off the recording, and that was about it. I hope you guys really enjoyed. I just realized this is 30 minutes long. I hope you don't mind a long video. And bye-bye.